Okay, in this video, we're talking about the best way to sign high ticket clients without relying on sales calls. And I'm not going to waste 25 minutes talking about what the thing is before just telling you what the thing is. That thing is a B2B newsletter. And let me tell you why this is important. Number one is because one of the biggest problems in a B2B company or anyone who sells high ticket services to high ticket clients, whether that's a product, whether it's service, whatever, anyone who sells expensive stuff, it's likely that your thing is not going to convert people the first time they see you. What is likely is that it's going to take people multiple touch points before they convert for you. And there's a couple of reasons for this. Number one is that they don't trust you. And number two, which is probably more relevant, is that not everyone is ready to buy something that's so expensive. Not everyone's ready to buy, a $10,000 thing that day, especially if it's not as relevant to them or it's not a pertinent problem that's going to absolutely hurt them. The reality is only 3% of the market is going to be ready to buy at any given point. And if someone's not ready to buy, that might not be a big deal if you're selling something for $3, $10. Maybe I'm not ready to buy a coffee, but then I might just buy it anyway because it's $3. I don't really care. But when people are making these $10,000, $20,000 purchases, or even $3,000 a month or $5,000 a month, that is a relatively big commitment, and you are going to need a lot of touch points in order to get them to buy. You can't do this just by sending them one email or sending them one ad, which is what most people do. They have this idea that if they send someone one email or they run one ad, all of a sudden they should have signed high ticket clients by now. And it's kind of like, well, let's be honest. When was the last time that you converted off one ad or you converted off one email? The reality is that in 2024, sales resistance is so high that most people will only convert after seeing an ad. Then they might go and get a bunch of other touch points, and then they might eventually convert 6 months after they initially see the first thing. And the reason that a B2B newsletter is so strong is because this is earned or owned media, that you don't have to pay any money to essentially keep going or to post. It doesn't cost you anything. You can't lose it. And it is hugely, hugely relevant to B2B founders, or if you're selling B2B, or even sometimes B2C, but we're talking about B2B here. It's hugely relevant because everyone is in their email address. That's why cold emails work so well. But imagine a cold email that was warm, that they already wanted to hear from you, and that you could sort of build this pattern where someone would go in their inbox every day and read your stuff. And then when they're eventually ready to buy, who's in their inbox that day? It's you. So that's what we're talking about in this video. We're going to cover the exact strategy. We're going to cover every single little nitty gritty detail. We've got about 100 plus slides here ready to rock. And we're talking about that $1 million B2B newsletter. So you might have seen this before, but before I get into that, let's just do a little intro. So this presentation was made by Matthew Larson, who is one of the creators of this and the co-founder of 1000x Leads. He's been in the agency space for over 12 years. And currently, if I do say so myself, has one of the best YouTube channels for agencies and lead gen that exists. So you can check out his profiles here. You can see his Twitter, Matt Larson 1000x. You can see his Instagram, Matthew B. Larson. You see his LinkedIn there. And then you can also check out his best YouTube videos. So how he grew his marketing agency from 0 to 900K per month, the 56 minutes of agency training, the 32 minutes of content strategy, the 43 minutes of paid ads training, the 51 minutes of low ticket product training, as well as how he sold his agency. Those are all great videos. Then the other creator of this training was this ugly guy right here, Leo Moore. Not sure who invited this bloke to the party, but he's okay. He's the other co-founder of 1000x Leads, or I am the other co-founder of 1000x Leads. I've scaled agencies to 100K a month plus in under 12 months, and I work with them to add 50 to 100K MRR every 6 to 12 months using a range of lead gen and sales strategies. I'm not going to go ahead and say I've got the best YouTube channel in existence, maybe one day, but we're getting there. And you can check out my social media profiles, LXMore_ on Twitter, LeoXMore1 on Instagram. You can check my LinkedIn there, as well as my best YouTube videos, how to grow a company in 2024, B2B company to 1 mil ARR in 7 months, and how to make offers people will actually want. And you can check out all these links in the description. For context about what we do and what 1000x Leads is. So 1000x Leads is a 120-day agency consulting program that helps agencies build up their cold traffic acquisition systems, so paid ads, content, outreach, and partnerships. And it's mainly built to solve these problems. So if you feel like no one knows who you are, you don't generate enough leads, you only get clients from referrals, and you don't generate any on your own, and that 99% of your leads are unqualified, then 1000x Leads is specifically built to solve those problems. And you might be worth checking out this document, which goes over how we can help you. Again, that'll be in the description. So without further ado, let's get into the introduction and talk about a standalone newsletter business. This guy does not cover that. that rely on sponsorships and premium subscriptions to exist. And although this is a perfectly good business, it is very different to the type of newsletters that we're talking about here. In this document, we're talking about using a business or using a newsletter as a tool in a marketing arsenal of a business, and the newsletter not necessarily being the business. And it's important clarification, because there are businesses that they'll grow a newsletter, they'll sell, just newsletter stuff, or they'll have a sponsorship, or they use it as a traffic. But this document is specifically for using a newsletter to get clients, sell products, get users for a software, and so on and so forth, specifically targeted at nurturing B2B leads, et cetera, et cetera. So as you can see here, there was a bit of a better version of this funnel that had been, it's been updated since we made this presentation that I added to the top, but you can see here, the newsletter fits in right there. And the reason that a newsletter is such a massive opportunity is because it's the only type of audience that you actually own. The reason it's so valuable is because none of the other platforms you own. You don't own Facebook, you don't own Insta, you don't own Twitter, you don't own TikTok. Your accounts are the property of the company, and you don't own your SEO ranking either. So the reason that's important is because algorithm changes can happen and ruin you. You can also get banned, things can happen. The algorithm can change, like Twitter. So for example, I know a lot of people who built their business off Twitter. All of a sudden, Elon comes in, changes the algorithm, and then absolutely squashed their growth. And all of a sudden, you can't get clients because you were essentially renting that audience from the platforms. Whereas if you have an email list, you can contact them at any time. You own it completely, and it is the most valuable. And that asset actually holds value in the company as well. So your company will own that. And it's the only type of audience that you can basically reach whenever you want to. So it's the only type of audience that no matter what happens, you can get them at any time of the day. There's no algorithm. There's no taken away. You cannot lose that list. That is your list that you can contact at your own discretion. For example, if you post a YouTube video, YouTube's only going to show it to a small percentage of your followers, and not everyone's going to see it. Same goes for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. And that's not the case with the email list. You can send to 100% of your audience whenever you want, any time of the day, wherever you want. Doesn't matter, just a few clicks away. But that's all fun and games, but how do we make money? So here we're going to talk about the 5 newsletter revenue streams and how it's going to be applicable to a B2B company, specifically an agency. So there are a few main ways to make money with a newsletter. There will be others that are niche dependent, but here are the main ways that are going to apply broadly. Number 1 is sponsorships. So people will pay you a fee to promote them in your newsletter. You also have affiliate offers, so you can promote softwares or other offers, and if people sign up, you get a referring affiliate commission. You have co-registration, so when people sign up for your newsletter, you can also recommend they sign up for others that you will choose, and you'll get a commission for every time they sign up. You can also have low-ticket products, and you can sell these for, $10, $100, $500, whatever it may be, whether it's a low-ticket info product or a physical product, and you can sell these to your audience. You can also get clients and customers because over time, like I said, the whole point of this was that you have people that aren't necessarily ready to buy, but they're ready to learn about what you do, build a bit of trust over time, and then you can convert them into clients and customers. As a good rule of thumb, a good B2B newsletter can make a minimum of $1 per month per subscriber. So if you get 50K subscribers, you'll quite easily be able to make $50,000 per month or more using a combination of the methods above. And that's not even necessarily, massive to make $1 per month per subscriber. There's a lot of people that do more than that as well. There are a couple of ways to grow a newsletter. You have paid ads versus organic typically. So number 1, you can grow it through organic content. You can post, you build an audience and direct them to your landing page, and now they are subscribers. And you can also run paid ads on platforms like Facebook to direct people to your landing page where they can sign up and become subscribers. So there's pros and cons to both, but there are 2 main problems. If you grow organically, there's eventually a point where everyone who follows you is already on your newsletter, and you'll reach a point where unsubscribes will equal new subscribers and growth will come to a halt, so you'll plateau. That's a problem with organic. The problem with paid ads is that you're going to have to spend a lot of money that you won't know if and when you'll get back. So signing up a newsletter subscriber is all fun and games, but you probably had to pay to get that lead, and you're not necessarily aware of, are they going to convert 3, 6, 12 months down the line, and therefore it is not that scalable. Lots of people simply do not have money to do that. They can't float that long, especially when their newsletter is not their main business. And that can be very stressful because you really need to get that money back. You can't just spend unlimited money on paid ads and get unlimited leads. As much as we wish we could, it's not really the case. Which reminds me of something where someone gave me the definition of strategy. The definition of strategy is how we allocate resources limited resources against unlimited options. So there's a lot of things you can do with your money, but we really have limited resources. So we need to use those resources really well. And that is where strategy comes into play. So the things are, if it's organic, it's going to be free and high quality, but it can be slow when it maxes out. Paid ads can be fast and scalable, but lower quality and also cost money. So just keep that in mind. Part 2 is going to be setting it up. So what you want to do is ask yourself the question of, do you want it to be a part of the business, or do you want it to be a separate domain and be a standalone newsletter that promotes your business? It's an interesting question, and there are pros and cons for each. So newsletter as a part of business, pros would be single email software, adds enterprise value in the event of an exit, and it will also have passive crossover recognition for your business due to the name of the newsletter. And the cons are that it will seem more salesy. Number 2 is that you'll have unsubscribes from sales flows, will mean that they'll probably unsubscribe from your newsletter as well. And then, like, if you have a cold email, etc., they'll probably unsubscribe from your newsletter too. Number 3, they can be hard to keep segmented. Number 4, newsletter deliverability can sometimes be poor due to negative metrics from sales emails, giving you a lower domain reputation. Then if you have a standalone newsletter, it shouldn't be a surprise that the pros and cons of a standalone newsletter are basically the opposite. So if you sell your business, you can keep the newsletter. It can be used as a tool to build your personal brand. It's much easier to sell sponsorships if that is something you choose to do. And it also feels a lot more personal to the reader. And then the cons can be you have to manage 2 separate softwares, and they can also be hard or impossible to sell the newsletter if it is your personal newsletter. So which one you should choose is a decision only you can make. I'm not going to push you in any direction, but let's just talk about the name and branding. So if you choose to make it a standalone newsletter, that is treated as a separate from your main business, or is treated as separately from your main business. You'll need to come up with a new name. So the name of your newsletter matters some, but it doesn't matter that much. So don't worry too much. But the things you want to keep in mind are the following. So the .com domain has to be available. If it isn't, you'll need to find a new domain. The name should be easy to understand. If you have to explain it, it's an automatic fail. The name should be simple so that if someone mentions the name of the newsletter to a friend, they don't have to spell it out. It's very, very simple. The name should also be related to what you're talking about, and short names are preferable because they are easier to say and type in. Some additional things are if there are other newsletters with similar names, probably not as good. And if there are social media accounts are available or not. Then once you choose your domain, you should buy the .co.org.info.ets and redirect them to your main domain so no one else buys those and launches a site with the same name, newsletter, or otherwise. Then when it comes to the tech stack, you're going to need a few tools. So these will be in the description. I'll leave the link to this presentation so you can get all of these. The email software, you'll choose between Beehive and ConvertKit. For co-registration, you'll need Sparkloop. For the ad platforms, you're going to need Facebook Business Manager, Ad Account, Pixel. You'll need a Twitter ad account as well. You'll also need a landing page builder too. And you'll need cold email to get sponsors. So that'll be Instantly and ListKit. Then for affiliate stuff, you'll have Impact Marketplace and Partner Stack Marketplace. These are the best tools to use to start and operate your newsletter. And you can sign up for all of them and see what you can do. Most of them have free plans as well, or at least a free trial. So take advantage of those and then go from there. If you're reading this guide as well, you probably want your newsletter to make money and also get more clients. So if that's the case, you might think, let's just focus on that. However, sponsorships can be really, really lucrative for you if you can add them to your arsenal. And it's not necessarily an either or when it comes to, do I want to focus on sponsorships or do I want to focus on getting clients? In fact, you can have every single monetization stream in every single newsletter if you wanted to, like literally daily. So you can have, maybe a sponsor, like a brand or a software sponsoring the newsletter at the top, maybe a feature section. You can have client promotion. So you might have a subtle promo at the top, promoting a webinar case study or success story, and then a full promo section at the bottom. You might have a digital product, which will be a small promo at the bottom as well. And you might have affiliate links scattered throughout the newsletter or as part of your deep dive. Then what you want to keep in mind is that co-registration is not really a part of the newsletter. It's what happens at the sign-up process as part of the funnel. So yeah, in most cases, you can probably get a bare minimum of $50 CPM from newsletter sponsors for a solid B2B newsletter, like the one we're talking about here. That means if you had 50,000 subscribers, you could get $2,500 per sponsor. And in most cases, it will be much, much more. Not really unheard of to get a $250 CPM if you have some authority in your industry too. So if you have 100,000 subscribers, it might be $5,000 per sponsorship, which is not bad at all.
I mentioned co-registration before as well. So just to explain what that is and how you can use it, co-registration refers to when they sign up for your newsletter and lead magnet, you will offer them to sign up for 5 others as well. The reason you want to do this is because a lot of people will pay you a set amount per subscriber. So for example, if you have 5 people paying you $2 per subscriber and 40% of your leads will go into their newsletter as well, that is a $4 per subscriber payment to you, or $4 payment to you. So the $2 times 5 newsletters times a 40% opt-in rate equals $4. Then if you're paying $1 per lead, that would mean you're getting a 4x ROAS. And that means you can scale your ad spend and know that you're going to get that money back on the front end rather than having to float all that money for months and months and months before you get any sort of ROI. Which also means even if you get a $2 to $4 CPL, that is still well above the point where you're breaking even. So as you can see, co-registration is it's fairly powerful if you want to grow through paid ads because it offers a quick and easy and effective way to recoup your ad spend. There are a couple of different platforms that you can do co-registration on. One of the main ones being Sparkloop. It's basically a marketplace for that exact purpose. Basically, what you're trying to do is be an affiliate for other people's newsletters. So when they sign up for your newsletter, you just show them a pop-up using Sparkloop that promotes the other newsletters. You don't have to do anything for this. It happens automatically once you set it up. And then if they sign up to those ones and are considered a qualified subscriber, you get that commission as a part of that. The ideal situation here is that your cost per lead is low enough to where the commission from the referring of people simply will offset your ad costs, and then you're essentially growing your newsletter for free. And sometimes, if you're really, really good, you're going to get a pretty decent ROAS on that as well. Depends on your ability to make the ads and the opt-ins and stuff like that. Then you have affiliates. So another benefit of having a newsletter is that you can easily and automatically become a SaaS affiliate. This adds an extra stream of recurring revenue to your business. And many softwares will pay commissions for up to 12 months and beyond. So if you can get a 30% commission on a $100 a month sale, it's basically $30 a month for 12 months at a minimum. And if you build your newsletter to 100K subscribers, for example, and just one of them sign up for a single affiliate offer at the economics above, you're very, very quickly going to be earning 30K per month. It's even better when you realize you can affiliate for dozens of different affiliate programs and softwares, etc., and brands, whatever it may be. And then once you build up a recurring income, you can either take it out as profit or use it to scale your ad spend and grow your list and join even more affiliate programs, whatever you really want. As soon as you have cash, you're kind of in that position where the ball's in your court. And then again, once you begin to build some positive momentum, it starts to snowball and sort of almost becomes out of control, where you just have these options where you can kind of do what you want. And at that point, again, ball's in your court. With the messaging, in general, the best thing to do is to tie it to a financial gain, i.e., how is this going to make them more money? How is this going to save them money? How is it going to save them time and therefore money? That is basically what most people are after, especially when we're looking at B2B. And if you can tie your lead magnet to some type of financial gain, or your lead magnet ad, I should say, you're going to get a better result than if it is vague. Really, really simple. Financial gain, financial gain, financial gain. Don't get it too complicated. How is your lead magnet, how is downloading your lead magnet going to provide them with a financial gain? Start by answering this question and then test a few different headlines, descriptions, and benefits. And don't stop until you have tried at least 30 ads. And the two main platforms that you're going to run these ads on are Facebook and Twitter. These are the only two where it is possible to get a cost per subscriber that is economically viable. Platforms like TikTok don't work very well for newsletter ads, and platforms like LinkedIn cost too much for the numbers like these. Reddit is okay, but it's just not anywhere near as good as Facebook and Twitter. And even Twitter isn't as good as Facebook. You want to always start with Facebook. If you don't have that much bandwidth, if you're a beginner, if you're just getting off the starting ranks, start with Facebook. It's always going to be the dominant platform, at least until further notice. When it comes to structuring these ads, when you're running newsletter ads, you want to keep things as simple as possible. You don't want to do targeting. You don't want anything too crazy. Use country targeting. You want to use Facebook's algorithm to learn based on who is subscribing, and then continually optimize and narrow down the audience as you keep collecting the data. Then doing lookalike or interest targeting is kind of not going to be worth your time, and it will become so good in terms of the context of your pixel and these things, that going 100% broad is actually going to be more efficient than trying to optimize lookalikes or interest targeting, etc. Matt, like I said before, he's been in the game for 12 years, and not even he has seen an exception to this. So very, very simple. When you want to set it up, you want to have one main campaign for proven winners. You want to have one campaign for testing,
and you want to have you want to keep the number of ad sets to 1 in the main campaign and as few as possible in the testing campaign. So you want to, simple scales. Like if your strategy is too complex, and it might be rich because we've got a massive funnel, but you don't want to have a complex strategy. You want your strategy to be as simple as possible because the complexity is going to come with the scale. So if you actually get this to work, all of the complexity is going to come with the fact that you're running at such a fast pace. You don't want to make anything too complex with the minutia like in here. When you're tracking these metrics, here are the important ones. You want to look at CPM. If this is too high, it is a sign your ads are low quality and you should try new concepts. You want to track CTR. You want to track outbound CTR and compare this to your overall CTR to see what percentage of people click on your ad in general versus what percentage of people actually click to your site. If your outbound CTR is a lot lower, this usually means your ad is good enough to take a look at, but not good enough for them to click on. And this may lead to, this may be a lead magnet problem or a copywriting problem. Then you want to track outbound clicks, very good metric to see total clicks. You want to track cost per outbound click, which you'll need to get this to 70 cents or less if you want subscribers for $1 or less. That's just how the math works out, excuse me. Got a burp. Then you want to turn ads off if this is ever more than 125. It just won't work. You'll need to make them better. So if you have this metric, test more. 6, you want to test results. Obviously, good to know how many leads you have. And then 7, cost per result. You're going to need to know the cost per subscriber. You need this to be $1.25 or less if you want to break even through co-registration. That's just the reality. It's very difficult to do that. But if you know your stats and you constantly optimize and you really, really work hard and you test a lot of creative and you let it run and you're spending the right amount and you're optimizing all of your creatives over time, it is possible to get to this level. Matt does it all the time as our, he runs the ads for us. Number 8, your opt-in rate. So this is a custom metric that you can create by dividing results by outbound clicks, as in your number of leads by outbound clicks. This is good to track. If it is less than 60%, it is a sign that your landing page is not good enough. And obviously, if we have all of this context here about what we need to troubleshoot, it's just a matter of reaching KPI. So there's a saying in Australia, an Australian football coach said it. He said, if it bleeds, we can kill it. So if something's like if a team bleeds, if there's some type of vulnerability that we can see, we can kill it. So you kind of use that. I say that here to say if we know our KPIs that we need to hit, we can hit them. If we know what we need to hit, we can hit them. If we know if it bleeds, we can kill it. It breathes oxygen. It bleeds blood. We know we can get it. Again, we have some newsletter ad templates for you, but here's a big Canva file. You can copy to make this easier in the description. Don't need to explain that again. And what you can do is you can start with the notepads for testing. You should always start with these notepad ads. This is because they stand out well in the feed. You can make them really fast and they can test copy really fast. So if you need to have some high production, video ad creative, and there's all these, obstacles to testing an ad, you're not going to be in a good position to go and test like 30 to 50 ads or hundreds of ads that you'll need to get to the CPLs that we need to hit. So what you want to do is keep it simple. It's a good keep it simple, stupid approach. The KISS framework. If you don't know it, now you know. Because what we're going to run is this full testing strategy. So here's what we use to test these ads. So number 1, make a notepad app for 5 different lead magnets, or a notepad ad for 5 different lead magnets, and make 5 versions and run each of them for a few days before making the lead magnets. The results of this will show you which lead magnet is best performing without having to make them all. So you don't actually have to use your time to make the lead magnets. You want to test first before you actually create it so you can save the time. Then, number 3, what you want to do is when you have the winning lead magnet, test 5 different notepad ads with the headline being the only difference. So the headline is going to determine 80% of the performance on these types of ads. So test the headline first. Then, once you find the winning headline, make 2 new ads where you think you could improve the winning headline. So try and beat the winning headline. Test them and see if it's true. Then you want to repeat that test at least 3 times to try and improve your headline. And once you have found your winning headline and run 3 tests improving it, you can try testing different designs and different ad creatives instead of just using the notepad ads. So this is a very systematic approach to go about your testing. It's the best strategy to use if you're starting at 0, because the biggest hurdle you're going to face is finding the best lead magnet. And then after you find the best lead magnet, you're going to be finding the best way to communicate the lead magnet. So before you do this, don't worry about design. Don't worry about crazy creatives. Notepad ads will be sufficient and you can make new ads in seconds. So that's kind of the benefit. So to summarize, Test new Notepad app ads for 5 different lead magnets and see which lead magnet wins. So find the lead magnet, then create the best lead magnet once you see the results, then test 5 different Notepad ads with the headlines being the only difference. Then once you find the winner, make 2 new ads that you think you can improve the winning headline. Then repeat step 4 at least 3 times. Then once you find your winning headline, try different designs instead of just using the Notepad app ads. So you can see here, it's just using an order of operations because we want to do the highest leverage test first and then go down in order. So the biggest changes that you'll see is the performance in the lead magnets. Then you'll see the difference in performance. It kind of differs because the lead magnet is the highest leverage test. If you know Alex Hormozy, the offer is the highest leverage test. The lead magnet is the actual offer. So we want to start with that. Then we're switching to organic. So now in terms of growing organic, what you want to do is all roads lead to your newsletter. This is kind of the frame that we're going to go into this with. Just like all roads lead back to Rome, all of your social media profiles should lead back to your newsletter. Followers are just that, followers. If you actually want someone to buy from you and actually get involved with what you do, they're going to have to become a lead at some point and preferably sooner rather than later. And they're going to become a lead at the moment that they give you their contact information. So they follow you, cool. But if they give you their contact information, all of a sudden you have that click, that's a lead. Perfect. And that's what our content's for. So it's a way to get people to trust us, and it's a way to drive traffic to a page where we can collect their contact information. And then that is why we create content in a nutshell. And we have a clear path and system in place to convert followers into subscribers, into clients. Then what we want to do is, here is what you want to do on Twitter. So a bit of a content pivot to content. So this is how you're going to grow it. You want to set up your profile properly first things first. So when you start, this is step 1. So you want a cover photo which conveys that you do what you do with a decent visual. You want a profile image of you smiling, because who wants to work with someone who's sad all the time? You want a link to your conversion funnel, so your webinar, training, case study in your links. You want a bio that conveys what you do, some social proof, and promotes your lead magnets. Number 5, you want a pin post, which is a thread, which should be either super valuable or some type of social proof. Because this is the first thing people are going to read when they visit your page. Alternatively, you can use this as a command center for all your links to your lead magnets. If you do this, you want to put as many lead magnets links as you can in there, and then attach a video of you speaking. And you might even use a video, which will be your entire conversion video. So if you have a video of a webinar, case study, training, whatever it may be, see what you can do. Here's a good example from Carl Weiss, sharp bloke, this fella. You can see there, we accelerate the growth of D2C brands, currently working with 25 brands, including the Udi, Vessi, and Kino Body. So it's good social proof. And then he has the links there and a good training. And step 1, once you have the profile set up, is if you determine your niche, you'll be able to essentially have it as a set and forget type thing. So you won't have to do it again for the rest of the platforms, because all of these posts will be based on what you do on Twitter. Twitter is kind of the central hub that you will work off. I've already talked about how to do this, but here's a short review. The niche is not about the service you provide, it is actually what you do. For example, if you sell email marketing services, you post about how to get better at email, not about your services. You want your niche to be specific enough, yet broad enough at the same time. So email marketing for e-com brands is good. Email marketing for brands selling protein powder is bad. That's too far niche down. There's no reason that you need to go that far. Maybe if you're starting and you have specific experience in that niche, if you have specific experience in that niche, it wouldn't be the worst idea. But at the same time, it is going to limit you over time. So you want to expand from that fairly quickly. Then what you want to do is brainstorm your 8 subcategories. So your 8 subcategories, you're going to determine what you post about. This is going to give you content ideas, and you can take your niche and narrow it down to the 8 most important parts of that niche. And each of those parts will become a subcategory. This is what you're going to post about. So going back to the previous slides, if we run a YouTube editing or growth agency, subcategories will be thumbnails, videos, video editing, coming up with ideas, production value, YouTube SEO, scripting and pacing, and speaking well on camera, as well as using YouTube to get clients. And what you want to do is make sure you're choosing these subcategories carefully, because these are going to be the basis for all of your content on every single platform and not just Twitter. So don't skimp out on this step. Make sure to choose these wisely. And again, it's the same thing that I said about the lead magnets before, where the quality of the content or the quality of the lead magnet or the ideas of what you're putting out into the world will be the number one determinant of the type of clients that you get. So it's kind of like one of those cringe things that people say, like your vibe attracts your tribe. It's actually true. Like it's cringe, but a little bit, but yeah, it's true. What you put out into the world is what you're going to attract as followers, subscribers, and future clients. So make sure this is on point. Then you want to brainstorm a list of 30 topics for each subcategory
based on the following methods which we've discussed. So number one, stealing proven ideas. Number two, going to Quora and searching up questions related to your niche. Number three is asking GPT for 50 common misbeliefs related to each of your subcategories. And four is looking for ideas in vidIQ, which is a YouTube software. If you combine these four methods with your brain, which is, impossible challenge, combine the methods with your brain and think for yourself, you're never going to run out of ideas for as long as you live. Because if you can see here, your niche, 8 subcategories, a bunch of proven formats, and then 50 of these each. That's like unlimited tweets. And you're not, I'm not going to do the maths in front of you. It's like unlimited tweets. You're never going to have an issue. Then, just like with the videos, you're going to need to capture their attention immediately and pique their interest. This is not really enough to make a good thread. It's not going to do much for you. When they are scrolling, the first post in the thread is all they'll see. And you need to make sure this post is interesting enough to get them to read the entire thread. So here's a list. We've done this for you. Use these hook ideas again, doc in the description. Use these hook ideas, go through and take your hooks from there. It's all done for you already. Then, we're abiding by the 2 rules. Is this content worth $5? And is there an actionable tip they can incorporate within 24 hours? Because what we're looking for here is fast value, big, fast value. Especially important, again, because all of your other platforms will be based off this thread. Very, very important. Moving on, we've also got a list of affiliate programs that you can make a copy of. So again, I'll leave that link in the description. It should be noted that most of these programs are managed by affiliate marketplaces like Impact or Partner Stack. So that's why you want to sign up for those as part of your tech stack. Then you have digital products. These are another one of the best ways to monetize your newsletter and your audience in general. They should be priced between about $10 and $100 and have a really, really aggressive upsell funnel on the back end for even more revenue and profit. This is obviously important, but there are some things to consider here. So what you want to think about is the math. If you get a $2 CPL here and you're selling a $100 offer, you need a 2% conversion rate in order to break even. So the leads coming in for $2, 2% of the leads will be breaking, 2% of the leads will be converting for the $100 offer. And that means you're going to be at even. So this means that if you have a great sales page or an extremely valuable offer, you'll be fine just to break even. The levers here, the things that you can use to impact your results heavily, a CPL or higher conversion rate. So if you have a low quality offer, you're going to need a lower CPL to make up for that. Meaning if your conversion rate is lower, you're going to need a lower CPL so you can kind of balance out the numbers. And if you have a higher quality offer, you can afford to get a higher CPL. But obviously, the ideal spot to be is that you have a sick offer, a great offer, and a really, really low CPL. But the advertising game is just a game of math. So you can reverse engineer what you need before you even start. So you want to get leads at $2. Average offer has an AOV of $100, and then you get a 2% CVR on the offer. Then you break even on ads. With these digital products, in terms of what you want to sell, these offers should be relevant and a natural upsell or add-on to your lead magnet, and they won't work well if they aren't related. And what you can do is you can get instant cash flow here. So the real value of these is that the cash flow is instant. So they are making a purchase, and you're going to make more money with things like sponsorships, getting clients, co-registration, and affiliate income. But none of these are instant, so they don't actually give you cash back immediately. And although you will know right away if someone signed up for another newsletter through co-registration or someone signs up for an affiliate link, you typically won't see the payout for 30 to 60 days. The low ticket info offer changes this. So as you know, if you're spending money on ads, it's not as if you have unlimited money. So the income that you get from the low ticket offer is important to help you scale, because cash flow is really, really important, and managing this is really, really important. You can still scale without this, but it makes it more predictable and allows you to scale quicker if you do have this in place. Then when it comes to clients, obviously clients are the biggest reason you would make a newsletter. As we discussed in the title and the thumbnail of this video, the whole point is to nurture these leads. But what I've been going through so far is really just all of these different ways that you can monetize the newsletter. They're kind of just bonuses, because really, if you just grew your newsletter to 100,000 subscribers over the course of a year with the strategy in this document, and one of them converted, or 1% of them converted, that would be 1,000 new clients, just 1% conversion rate. And that is actually how the math works out. Then if you profit 5K on each of those clients, you make 5 mil in profit. Of course, it's not that easy. You can't just get 100,000 subscribers, and you can't just make 5 million profit from thin air. Oh, bang, there's my 5 mil. How good's that? And then you just run off into the sunset. If it was that easy, everyone would do it. But A lot of people don't even think this way in terms of, hey, I have this goal, I have this objective. These are the key results I need to hit. If I hit these things, then I can get that thing. Yeah. And like I said earlier, newsletters are really good for getting clients because only about 3% of a target market is actively looking for an agency or service provider at any given time, which means that the whole other 97% are not looking. So they can't afford it. They can't do it themselves. Or they can either not afford it. They're doing it themselves already. They're already working with someone, or they don't know they need your solution yet. And that's just kind of how it works. And the value of the newsletter is that you're able to provide value to people at scale over time so that when they eventually need your service or they're looking to hire for it or whatever it may be, you are the first person they currently they think of. So if you think about the scale of this, the amount of people that are not currently looking absolutely dwarfs the number of people that are currently looking. That's why it's important that if we can convert these people over time, you can see there's a lot more scale here compared to this. When it comes to creating the funnel, you want to have things called lead magnets. A lead magnet is essentially what you are offering people to get them to sign up to your newsletter. You want to offer some sort of lead magnet because it's much superior when growing your newsletter in comparison to just saying, hey, sign up for my newsletter, give me your email address, just because I'm handsome and cool and awesome. It just doesn't really happen that way. And what it leads to is a better quality of subscribers because they now view you as the expert. You're going to get a better cost per lead and you're going to get higher open rates because they are looking for the offer or the lead magnet. It also makes them less likely to unsubscribe because they'll likely be looking for more offers like this in the future, more free value. And finally, if you make your offer a free tool built in X software, you can also get them to sign up with your affiliate link, which will add nice recurring revenue over time. So you might say in the lead magnet, hey, you need this software, you need this software, you need this software, and then you can get those conversions, which is so crucial. Important thing to remember here is that the ad makes the audience. So you have to make the lead magnet that would be interesting to founders, executives, leaders, higher-ups, etc., and less interesting to noobs. So for example, a CRO checklist full of tests would be more interesting to founders than a free Facebook ad masterclass. Even if they know what CRO is, they're going to be higher quality compared to someone who's just starting out. So you want to be really, really aware when you're making the lead magnet, when you're making the ads, the creative is going to make the audience. So make sure you have that in mind. And like I said, this is kind of a little diagram here about why the lead magnet is important. You have some type of free value to solve a problem for them. It might be a guide, checklist, video, whatever it may be. And this is essentially acting as a magnet to people in your target market. And as a trade, they will give you their contact information. The first step to creating a great lead magnet is to determine what type of people you want to subscribe to your newsletter. So if your newsletter is about advertising, you would want business owners, marketers, designers, or media buyers to join your newsletter. And you could even drill that down a bit deeper and target owners, marketers, designers, and media buyers that are in e-commerce if your newsletter focuses on e-commerce. The first important thing to keep in mind here is that your newsletter cannot speak to everyone. You have to choose a very specific topic or theme for it to be about. And this will provide some boundaries for what type of lead magnets you can create and what type of ads you can make as well. The second thing to keep in mind is how you're monetizing the newsletter as well. So if you're monetizing it through sponsors, you can usually make the lead magnet more generic or more broad. And this is because you'll be selling sponsorships based on how many people read the newsletter. However, if you're an agency owner or a SaaS founder and you want to convert some of these subscribers into clients, you're going to want to make these lead magnets that build more trust and demonstrate your expertise a bit more. And then these types of lead magnets should solve a very specific problem as well, or be sort of a part of what you offer. And I'll explain that in a later step of this document, or you can go and check out our lead magnets training as well. But like I said, a bit more on that later. When it comes to lead magnets though, there is really a right and a wrong way to create a lead magnet. If the lead magnet is for the purpose of getting clients for your agency, used for your app or into your audience so you can sell products to them, you need to do the following. Number one is list out every single problem or step of your service on a piece of paper. There's likely going to be 5 to 10 things or more that you will need to do in order to be successful with the service you provide. For example, if you run a cold email agency, there are a few steps that you need to understand in order to be successful. It might be setting up the domains, writing the scripts, getting the lead list, etc., etc. The goal with a lead magnet, or each lead magnet, if you have multiple over time, is to completely solve one problem for them. So a lead magnet is not a half solution. A lead magnet is a complete solution for one step of the process. And what you'll see is that too many people will think, I'll give them half of what they need to know, and then they'll come to me for the rest. That's really, really incorrect. They will not. They will either think you are a slime ball or they'll think you're an idiot, which is probably not ideal if you want to convince them to give you thousands of dollars. On the next slide, I'll list out all of the possible steps you'll need to know in the example of cold email, and you'll see exactly what I mean. And a little diagram here is you can see that you and your service, you have these lead magnets, and your target customer has all of these different problems. And each lead magnet you have should solve one problem or step of your service. In the example of a cold email agency, here are some of the problems or steps that someone might need to know in a bit more depth than what I said before. Number one is know how to buy and set up the domains. Number two is know how to set up DNS records and how to add them to each domain, and also how to find them and how to do it efficiently. You might also need to know which software to use. You need to know how to get lead lists and build lists. You need to know what settings you should use in general. You need to know how to warm up the domains. You need to know how to write a good subject line that gets people to open. You need to know how to write good copy that gets people to respond. You need to know how to respond to people so the conversations don't die. You need to know how to set up notifications or alerts so that when people reply, you don't miss them and you can reply as quickly as possible. You need to know how to get them to respond. You need to know how to get people to respond to get them on a call. You need to know how to set up a pre-call flow, which educates them. You need to know how to set up pre-call reminders to reduce no-shows. You need to know how to set up your website and social media so when they Google you, they see good things. You need to know how to record Loom so you can show them what your service is about. You need to know how to create good sales assets so you can send them if they ask for more information. You need to know how to handle common objections. Oh my God, this is a mouthful. You need to know what to do if your emails start going to spam and how you can fix it. And you're going to need to know how to handle people who want to unsubscribe from the email sequences so you don't email them again. So you can imagine if these are all the problems that you have, it's like far out. If these are all the problems, like far out, there's a lot of problems. And similarly, with starting a YouTube channel, it's the same sort of stuff. So how do I set up my lights? How do I make good titles? How do I make good thumbnails? How do I, do YouTube SEO? How do I, analyze the analytics? How do I see if my channel's set up right? How do I know if I've got a good description? How do I maximize watch time? How do I, post this on my other social medias? How do I, know whether to do long form or short form? How do I make good scripts? How do I make good video ideas? You can see, you can kind of get the point. I'm not going to waffle all day, but you can get the point here that with each service there's different problems and you need to list these out. Because these are things that you need to know in order to be successful with Thing. In this case, I'm using cold email as the example, and I may even be forgetting some. So you can see it's kind of extensive. And each lead magnet should solve one of these problems so completely and so magnificently that they want to come to you for more. And you want to think of what you're offering as a pie, and each problem or step is required as a slice of the pie. So you want to make as many lead magnets as you possibly can because you never really know which one is going to work the best. And the ideal situation is that you have dozens and dozens and dozens of these running at the exact same time. And the key here is that people will have different problems at different stages in their business life. So you might have one person that resonates with the camera setup problem, and you might have another that resonates with the how to write a script problem. This is the way that you can actually magnetize the entire market and also really, really strongly magnetize these types of people right here, ideal prospects, to say, I might as well just hire this guy. When it comes to the landing page, you want to have the goal of getting an opt-in rate of 70% or higher, which means that for every 100 clicks, you should be getting 70 or more of them to sign up. And anything less than that probably indicates that your lead magnet is not interesting enough or framed in the correct way. And your lead magnet should be so on the money that people simply cannot help themselves but to sign up. And this is a really stark contrast to people who run plain newsletter ads where they have something that's just not compelling. And those pages have an opt-in rate of about 20% or less. So by running a lead magnet, we're getting a cheaper cost per click, we're getting better opt-in rates, we're getting higher open and engagement rates, and we're making less people unsubscribe. So you can imagine it might be worth doing instead of just doing the basic stuff. Then when it comes to the landing page, we want to be building that around the lead magnet and using that as the starting point in the funnel in terms of driving traffic to our site. So you can see here, out of 100 people, this many people should opt in. We use Webflow for our opt-in pages. Webflow is a really powerful site builder, offers a lot of customization options. You can sign up here. Like I said, the links to all the stuff will be in the description. And if you choose Webflow, you should get the CMS plan. Don't get a workspace. If you see the word workspace, you're in the wrong area. Webflow is really the best software because you can build them through your email service provider like Beehive or ConvertKit. But if you do it through Webflow, it offers much more in terms of customization. You also can't really get a 70% opt-in rate using Beehive or ConvertKit because it won't let you set them up in a really ideal way. There's a few limitations to the platforms, but luckily you can download the template listed earlier in this document and get your own Webflow pre-built pages absolutely free. So that's pretty good. And the way that you do that is by claiming your Webflow page by clicking the link. Again, this will be in the description, so just go through the presentation and check it out. All you need to do is have a Webflow account in order to do this. So if you want this template, you would unfortunately have to pay $29 per month. Sue me that you would need a software to to use the template. But again, it might be well worth it if it doubles or even triples your opt-in rate for your newsletter. So it should pay for itself. So you should do it without a second thought. Then what you want to do is send an email to matt@1000xleads.com, and Matt will send you, or I will send you the templates. In terms of the step-by-step instructions, you want to sign up for Webflow. You want to click the link to go to the Made in Webflow marketplace and add our template. Then you want to add your domain and hosting to your Webflow project based on the guide. Then you want to embed a form for your email service provider. And then you want to tailor the thank you page and the homepage however you want. They're also included in the free project. When it comes to Sparkloop and the co-registration pop-up, this is placed between the opt-in and the thank you page. So people will click on your ad, they'll sign up for your form, then they'll get a pop-up from the co-registration platform, then they will go to the thank you page. This is the ideal place for it, and where 99% of the platforms automatically insert it if you use a marketplace, because when it is placed here, it doesn't affect the likelihood that they will opt in, and they won't know about it until after they click submit and actually opt in. So it doesn't affect the opt-in rate. All it does is takes a slice of the people that have already opted in. Sparkloop is what we use. I would probably just use that, honestly. When it comes to the thank you page, this is where you want to promote some type of offer. In general, you will choose between a digital product, webinar, training, or course, or something like a case study, etc. And the purpose of this is either to get sales of a digital product to help cover the cost of ad spend, or to offer a more advanced lead magnet like a webinar, workshop, or training or course to give them a reason to fill out the form again, only this time asking you to give their name, phone number, website, URL, as well in addition to their email address. And both of these are really valid options. Probably should try both. This is one of those things that you test and you can kind of see over time, and you can probably intuit it and sort of guess based on your service which one of these is going to be the best and most efficient for me, and go from there. When it comes to the email flows, when someone signs up for your email or form, they should and will be added to your welcome flow. So your welcome flow is necessary as a tool that will automatically send your subscribers information about you, your lead magnet, your newsletter, and what to expect. And you're going to be much more successful with a welcome flow than you would be without one. And people are really expecting to hear from you when they sign up for something. When they want you to contact them, they've put their email in the form and they're checking their inbox for something from you. And that's where the welcome flow comes in. So these can be as short or as long as you want, but as a rule of thumb, we send emails over 3 days. The first one should be sent immediately, the second one after 24 hours, and the third one after 48 hours. And then on the next few pages, you will receive a template for each that you'll be able to tailor to your own welcome flow, or use it inspiration as you choose. That's kind of the funnel there if you want to use a more visual check-in. When it comes to the welcome flow, there are a few goals. So the main goals of the welcome flow are, number one, to get them familiar with your name so they can instantly recognize it. Number two is to get them familiar with your face. So again, they can instantly recognize it. Number three is to get them familiar with your voice so they can, again, instantly recognize it if they hear you on a video or podcast. If you can achieve these goals in your welcome flow, you will be in a good position. So what that means is, to be in a good position, they're going to be more likely to read your newsletter and less likely to unsubscribe or to mark it as spam, because now they have a bit of a personal connection. You are also a real person to them now, and not just some idiot who tricked them into signing up for a shitty lead magnet. And also they're far more likely to become your client or buy something from you now because they know your name, they see your face, they hear your voice, and that builds 100 times more trust than just being completely anonymous in their eyes. So in each of those welcome flow emails, you want to include your name at least 3 times. So your sender name in the first sentence and in your signature, and then preferably more than that, as long as it's not forced or awkward. You want to include your face at least 2 times. So once underneath your signature and once as the thumbnail of a video that you link inside the email. And you want to have your voice by proxy as part of the video that you attach in the welcome flow. So you should have a video in your lead magnet which the welcome flow delivers, so they can get used to it a little bit. So here are the 3 goals. Again, there's that visual for you. A bit of a fourth bonus goal, in addition to the first three, is that you want to find a way to get them to reply to any or all of your welcome flow emails. The reason we want to do this is because we will automatically be added to their contacts and trusted sender list, and this ensures that every single future email will land in their inbox. And also, replies are a positive metric in terms of deliverability. So getting more replies will help improve our domain reputation, which will help more emails land in the inbox. And if more emails land in the inbox, that will further improve our domain reputation, and it's kind of a positive flywheel. And obviously, if more people see our emails, more people can read them, and more people can buy and build trust, etc., etc. So we can try and bait them into doing this in a few different ways, and I'll provide a few different ways as part of each email template in the following slides as well. Number one, here's the example of a welcome flow. This happens immediately. The main goal here is to deliver the lead magnet and to get them to respond. And you just really need to make it as bare bones as possible. But also remember the criteria of this email in the previous slide. So, hey, it's Matthew Larson from the marketing blog. Thanks for signing up. This is a 3 times a weekly read for those who are focused on marketing. So each week you're going to read about 3 new things about marketing that you probably won't find anywhere else. You're going to get downloads, templates, and guides that will help you with your marketing. You're going to get access to a secret library of training videos. And what we want you to do is reply yes if you received the email, and it's required to be eligible for future downloads, bonuses, and more. Thanks for signing up. Talk soon, Matt. Download by clicking the link. So what I would do is download this document right here, and you can literally just use a similar template for your own welcome flow. Same here. I probably don't need to read through it. You can kind of read it on the screen, but I'll give you a quick overview. Hey, it's Matt. Checking in if you got X. If not, here's the link. If you got it, please let me know by responding Y. I'll also wanted to show you one of my best lead magnets, as it is a video version of one of my most popular newsletter issues I've ever done. Again, if you got the lead magnet, do let me know. Easy. Number 3. Hey, blah, 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 blah. If you're serious about X, then check out my playlist for my top 5 videos, podcasts, newsletters, whatever it may be. People charge thousands of dollars for this info in their courses, but I'm giving it all away for free. Tell me what you think about it. Here are a couple of the free downloads. If you're interested, check them out. Talk soon, Matt. Really, really easy, really, really simple. What we're really trying to do here is just get that nurturing occurring. We're not really saying, hey, buy my $10 million thing. It's like, hey, we have more free value. Let's get them down the funnel. Let's push them further down. And if they really, really want to buy stuff, they'll just reach out. Kind of works that way. Then another thing you can use is a community. So I strongly believe in creating a free community as part of your newsletter and paid ad funnel. Then you can send invites as part of the welcome flow. And there are really a few strong advantages to it. Number 1 is it acts as another marketing channel. 2, solidifies their relationship with you. 3, you can have a free community and an upsell to a paid community. Number 4 is that you can charge more for sponsorships because they're on multiple platforms. And 5, you are far more likely to get clients if they interact with you in your community first. So if they talk to you, obviously they're sort of more likely to convert rather than if they don't talk to you. It's kind of self-explanatory. Then what you want to do is create your newsletter. So you've got your stuff in place, you've got your welcome flow, you've got your lead magnets. What do you do now? You create your newsletter. One of the biggest keys and the most important and easiest ways to create a great newsletter is probably the most least focused on. And what you want to do is make your newsletter actually good. You want to make it inherently interesting by identifying the topics that your target audience actually want to know about. And most people do the absolute opposite of this. So they set out with a goal of just growing a newsletter. But what you want to do is set out with the goal of making your perfect newsletter for your target audience. What do they want to see? What do they want to read? What is interesting to them? What is helpful to them? Where can we drive value? What would we be able to make that would be so good that they would be forced to tell their friends? So if we want to know that stuff, these questions are a really great place to start. And the key is, if you don't know this stuff, do your research, ask your clients, ask potential customers, ask your ICP, set up interviews with them if you have to. Because if it's boring, this is going to be your ideal customer. They're going to be in tears. They're not going to like you very much. The next thing is that you want to make sure it's really readable and really easy to consume. So it's another important thing, because oddly enough, most people, again, they do the exact opposite of this as well. So 2 rules of thumb that you should use is 1 idea per section. So you don't want to have walls of text and mixing ideas. Each section should be separated by a divider. And going even further, you should break up each sub idea into a section with a headline for further readability. And you also want to have 1 image per major section. So many people are visual learners and prefer to consume content that has images and graphics. And the ability to create these graphics that are easy to understand is very valuable. And one of the highest leverage skills, honestly, to develop. And this is a great way to practice. So you can see literally even in this presentation, every single thing that we're saying comes with a graphic. It comes with, hey, easy to read, one idea per section, one image per section, and one headline per sub idea. Just makes it really clear. If they don't read it, nothing matters. The reason we need to make these things readable and really simple and really easy is because if they don't read it, you're not getting any clients, you're not getting any sales, you're not getting affiliates, you're not getting sponsors, nothing. It seems like one of the most obvious things in the entire world, but it's really baffling. If you go ahead and read newsletters, a lot of these people do the exact opposite. If the content's not interesting, they're not reading it. If it's not easy to consume, they're not reading it. Please read those over and over when you are planning your template. You also want to consider the $5 rule, which says you need to follow something that would say, would I literally pay $5 to read this newsletter? If the answer is no, you will have to improve it. And do not send it unless you can honestly say you would pay $5 to read it. Do not send it. This will set in action a negative sequence of events that will slowly destroy it. One bad newsletter is like a cancer. One bad newsletter leads to a second bad newsletter, which leads to a third and a fourth, and so on. It's kind of a matter of standards, because if you have a minimum standard of our newsletter every single day should be worth $5, and you never ever go below that, it's going to be really easy to say, hey, maybe you have one that's $20, $30, $40. Hey, I would have paid $5,000 for that newsletter. It gave me so much value. But if it goes below 5, all of a sudden it's kind of a slippery slope. I can't remember what the saying is, but it's like you don't rise to the level of your motivation, you fall to the level of your standards or your training or whatever it may be. Just don't go below 5. It starts in the liver, spreads to the kidneys. Before you know it, you're screwed. And instead of just saying some random stuff with no reasoning, let's go over why. Number one is that your newsletter is so good that people are thinking about and expecting to receive it on a Monday or a Tuesday or whatever day you send on. They actually look forward to this every single day of the week. They're going to refresh their email and scan for your name, and you get a pretty high open rate, good click rate, and they're telling people about your newsletter as well. Number two is that you send a bad newsletter. It's not a big deal. They'll still like you. They're not unsubscribing or talking poorly about you, but now they're just not constantly scanning and looking their email, on that specific day of the week. And this is over time what happens. The next week, about 10% people on your newsletter, 10% less people because they've unsubscribed. So they still like you, but they're not really as enthusiastic as before because you let them down last week. Then the fourth order consequence is that this drop in open rate will lead to a drop in click rate. So this begins to have a negative effect on your overall deliverability, and sending providers like Google, Microsoft, etc., or their algorithm will see that your open rate and click rate are lower and your domain reputation slightly decreases. Then the next week, even more percentage of your emails land in spam and junk. I almost said spunk and jam. Oh my goodness, that's criminal. But spam and junk instead of the inbox, and that's due to the increasing open rate and click rate from the previous week. So then what happens is your open rate is even lower this week because not only are people less enthusiastic, but greater percentage of them are going to spam. And then people aren't as enthusiastic enough to look for it. So they're not going to check spam either. The following week, same thing happens again, but in a bigger degree because of the same factors going in a negative flywheel. And the week after, same thing again, bigger degree. Eventually, you just have super low open rates and no one clicks it and your newsletter's kind of dead. So the long story short is you probably want to stick to that $5 rule. And especially, if you've put in your best effort and you still wouldn't pay, $5, it's probably a bit of a bigger problem. So you want to use that as a rule of thumb. You might need to go ahead and go back to the drawing board. When it comes to frequency, the next thing you must figure out is how many times per week you are going to send it. For 90% of people, the correct answer is 1 time per week. However, you can send as many times as you want. Popular newsletters send twice a week, 3 times a week, five a week, or even daily. But when you get past more than 2x per week, it becomes much more of a standalone business than it is a tool to help you in your business. The best advice is to start 1x per week and do it for 3 months. If you're still itching to send more often and you want to do more, do 2, then do the same thing at 2. And if you want to increase it to 3, and so on and so forth. A great newsletter is a standalone business, but that is a full-time job that requires multiple people to run. So send as often as you can while remaining 100% consistent and adhering to the $5 rule. As you start to send the newsletter, you're going to need to create and constantly optimize a system for it. So this will make it a little bit easier to produce newsletters and ensure that they're high quality. So you want to have your structure, ideas, sections, method of writing, and method of measuring value and quality all in place. So you should have a system like this. Those are just the 5 general parts, and you can add yours and change if needed. And the process that you create your newsletter with should be the exact same every single week. That is the big takeaway here. You want to standardize this. You want to systematize this just to save you a lot of time and effort. And that is going to allow you to focus on the quality of the newsletter rather than thinking what structure should I use, what idea should I use. You want to have this stuff already planned out. And then all you need to focus on is making it worth $5. Then when it comes to deliverability, when you're operating a newsletter or just sending any email in general, it's very, 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 very important that we do all that we can to get out of the spam inbox, the junk inbox, and the promotions folder. And the reason for that is very obvious. If it lands in any of these folders except the primary inbox, the chances that they're going to see it, open it, click on it, click through it, buy it, whatever you're doing in the email, basically goes to near zero. How many times, just ask yourself, how many times do you go into the spam inbox and actually open stuff? Maybe you actually do. I know I actually do go into my spam inbox once every now and then, and all I'm met with is a bunch of spam, and I don't click on any of it. I might click on one thing, two things, if I'm lucky, every few months. And if you're emailing daily or weekly, it's just not going to happen. You're not going to get your stuff read. And that is the worst case scenario when the entire concept and premise of your newsletter relies on them opening and clicking and reading the newsletter. And the general term for this is email deliverability. So what we're going to do is get our deliverability as high as possible. And there are things that we can do to fix this, and is not random. And in this document, there will be a list of things to do as well as a list of things to not do. And this is short and should be viewed more as a checklist rather than a comprehensive guide. Maybe one day we'll come out with something that's more a comprehensive email list deliverability guide. But here's a list of things that you should do to keep your deliverability as high as possible. And if you don't know how to do these things or even what they are, before we come out with this major guide, what you can do is go to Google, go to YouTube, and just check out what these things are, get a tutorial, whatever it may be. Number one, you want to make sure that your DKIM, SPF, and DMARC records are added to your domain. You want to make sure you're using a dedicated sending domain through Beehive or ConvertKit. You want to allow your dedicated sending domain to warm up slowly and only send to people you know are going to open. You want to make sure that in each email, you're encouraging them to reply. If they reply, that is a positive signal to internet service providers like Outlook, Google, etc., and it will improve your deliverability. In addition, if they reply to your email, they will ensure that every future email goes to their inbox as well. You also want to automatically remove anyone who doesn't open any of your welcome email flows or one of your first few newsletters. If they don't open any of those, it's very unlikely they're going to open in the future. You also want to make sure your subject line is not cut off and they can read the whole thing on mobile. Obviously increases open rates, so your open rate's going to go up, get a better reputation. You also want to make sure your preview text is really strong and that gets them to open. And you also want to write good content that provides some sort of value or entertainment so that next time they see your email, they're likely to open it. And the side benefit of that is that it's, if you're putting out good stuff, it's very unlikely you're going to get marked as spam or that people will hate you, and your just general reputation will be up. And that is going to make them, it's going to help you have your readers and subscribers actually do things that you say when you ask for help. Like if you say, hey, can you reply to this email just so I know you got it? If your content is good, they're going to be much more likely to do it. And then obviously you get the side benefits from that. Next, just to continue that, you want to make sure that you have an unsubscribe link and your sender address at the bottom of every email. You want to make sure you verify your email with your ESP, email service provider. You want to keep a good ratio of content to links or promotion. The more links you add, the more content you should add. If you don't, it's more likely that you're going to be labeled as promotion. And then obviously, if you're labeled as a promotion, you're going to end up in the promotion folder in Gmail. And Gmail makes up a majority of users in the USA, so that's obviously pretty important. You also want to make sure in your email and your thank you page, you encourage the user to add you to their trusted senders list or their address book to make sure you always go to their main inbox. And on your thank you page, tell them they need to go and check their email right now. If you use a lead magnet, this gives them a better reason to check and click the initial email, because if they don't check it right now and they say, oh, I'll get to the lead magnet eventually, obviously the likelihood just goes down, that they'll actually open and engage with that email. Then in your welcome flow, give them multiple lead magnets over a 7-day period and train them to look for and open your email. So like it's kind of like a Pavlov's dog thing, if you know what that is. So every time they receive your email, they're kind of getting trained what to expect when they open your email. So if every time they open your email, they get a gift, they get a goodie, they get free value, whatever it is, if they like it, maybe even if they laugh, if you're a funny guy, if Kevin Hart's watching this, if Theo Von's watching this, and you've got jokes, then throw that in, and they're going to get trained to get a joke from your newsletter. If not, then maybe just try and give some free value, because you kind of have to compensate for your lack of humor. But then Moving on, you can also include your subscriber's name using variables if you're collecting their name on the opt-in form. And then you can also make sure the email is sent from the same name as the opt-in page. So if your opt-in page was newsletter launch, do not send emails from best newsletter agency. It should always match. So the person that is reading it has that, pattern recognition of, hey, yeah, this is someone that I know. This is not, a threat or anything. This isn't a cold email. I know this person. I regularly consume their content. In terms of what not to do, here is a list of things that you basically don't want to do. It's fairly self-explanatory. The reason you don't want to do any of these is because it's common for spammers to do these things. And if you do them as well, you're going to get grouped in with the spammers and you will be marked as spam. So again, if you don't know any of these things, just Google them, YouTube, etc. It's going to be your best friend. So do not buy or import email addresses of anyone who didn't opt in and upload them into your email list. Very, very silly. You want to avoid using words that could be considered spam or promotion, like free, sale, savings, etc. Google has a master list of spam words, so you can look that up and ensure you don't use them. Do not use all caps at any point in your subject line or email. Again, super spammy. You want to limit the number of links you use as much as possible. You want to limit the number of photos you use as much as possible. Do not use non-black fonts. Do not use exclamation points. Do not use embedded forms, and do not add attachments. So it's very simple. The checklist there for you. Don't do any of that stuff. Very, very silly. And with that, now we are up into the phase of promoting your newsletter. So like we said before, there's two main ways. We're going to start off with paid ads. For paid ads, here are some free ad templates that you can use. These absolutely crush. These have really good CPLs and they have really good CTRs. So what you want to do is go and get this doc. I'll say it again, get this doc, download this doc and go through and get all the links. I'll include some links in the description, but no promises. It's much easier for me to just put the doc in the thing, in the description, and then you can just get all the stuff. With the messaging, you've created your lead magnet and you're ready to advertise at this point. However, you will have to do some testing on the best way to communicate what your lead magnet is and what problem it solves or what purpose it serves. And there's always going to be an ideal way to explain it. And the best way to find out what that ideal way to explain it is, and when I say ideal way, I just mean what's going to be the best stats on ads and the best KPIs, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I mean by most ideal. And the best way to find the most ideal way is to create 5 to 10 versions of the same ad. And the only thing you want to do is change the copy inside the creative. So keep everything the same, keep the format the same, keep the lead magnet the same, keep the audience the same, and then just change the copy. There are many different ways to say the same thing. And instead of just guessing or asking people fire up a test campaign and let the market decide. This is always the best way. Do not guess. That is stupid. Just let the market decide. And because your lead magnet is so good and it solves a single problem so completely, you should have strong conviction to back it up. So you can make stronger claims in your ad because your lead magnet can back them up. Don't be shy. Go hard. Don't be soft. Your stuff's good. Let it rip. If it doesn't, fulfill the claim, you're screwed. So if you have a shitty product, just don't sell it. That's a good rule of thumb. But if it is good, let it rip. Steps to take. 1, create 5 to 10 versions of the ad and set them up in their own ad campaign. 2, spend at least $50 on each ad and see which ones are the winners. 3, make 5 to 10 new versions that are more similar to the winners. And number 4, repeat this process at least 3 times before stopping. Really, really important. With the messaging, in general, the best thing to do is to tie it to a financial gain, i.e., how is this going to make them more money? How is this going to save them money? How is it going to save them time and therefore money? That is basically what most people are after, especially when we're looking at B2B. And if you can tie your lead magnet to some type of financial gain, or your lead magnet ad, I should say, you're going to get a better result than if it is vague. Really, really simple. Financial gain, financial gain, financial gain. Don't get it too complicated. How is downloading your lead magnet going to provide them with a financial gain? Start by answering this question and then test a few different headlines, descriptions, and benefits. And don't stop until you have tried at least 30 ads. And the 2 main platforms that you're going to run these ads on are Facebook and Twitter. These are the only 2 where it is possible to get a cost per subscriber that is economically viable. Platforms like TikTok don't work very well for newsletter ads, and platforms like LinkedIn cost too much for the numbers like these. Reddit is okay, but it's just not anywhere near as good as Facebook and Twitter. And even Twitter isn't as good as Facebook. You want to always start with Facebook. If you don't have that much bandwidth, if you're a beginner, if you're just getting off the starting ranks, start with Facebook. It's always going to be the dominant platform, at least until further notice. When it comes to structuring these ads, when you're running newsletter ads, you want to keep things as simple as possible. You don't want to do targeting. You don't want anything too crazy.
Use country targeting. You want to use Facebook's algorithm to learn based on who is subscribing and then continually optimize and narrow down the audience as you keep collecting the data. Then doing lookalike or interest targeting is kind of not going to be worth your time, and it will become so good in terms of the context of your pixel and these things, that going 100% broad is actually going to be more efficient than trying to optimize lookalikes or interest targeting, etc. Matt, like I said before, he's been in the game for 12 years, and not even he has seen an exception to this. So very, very simple. When you want to set it up, you want to have one main campaign for proven winners. You want to have one campaign for testing, and you want to have you want to keep the number of ad sets to one in the main campaign and as few as possible in the testing campaign. So you want to simple scales. Like if your strategy is too complex, and it might be rich because we've got a massive funnel, but you don't want to have a complex strategy. You want your strategy to be as simple as possible because the complexity is going to come with the scale. So if you actually get this to work, all of the complexity is going to come with the fact that you're running at such a fast pace. You don't want to make anything too complex with the minutia like in here. When you're tracking these metrics, here are the important ones. You want to look at CPM. If this is too high, it is a sign your ads are low quality and you should try new concepts. You want to track CTR. You want to track outbound CTR and compare this to your overall CTR to see what percentage of people click on your ad in general versus what percentage of people actually click to your site. If your outbound CTR is a lot lower, this usually means your ad is good enough to take a look at, but not good enough for them to click on. And this may lead to, this may be a lead magnet problem or a copywriting problem. Then you want to track outbound clicks, very good metric to see total clicks. You want to track cost per outbound click, which you will need to get this to 70 cents or less if you want subscribers for $1 or less. That's just how the math works out, excuse me. Got a burp. Then you want to turn ads off if this is ever more than 125. It just won't work. You'll need to make them better. So if you have this metric, test more. 6, you want to test results. Obviously, good to know how many leads you have. And then 7, cost per result. You're going to need to know the cost per subscriber. You need this to be $1.25 or less if you want to break even through co-registration. That's just the reality. It's very difficult to do that. But if you know your stats and you constantly optimize and you really, really work hard and you test a lot of creative and you let it run and you're spending the right amount and you're optimizing all of your creatives over time, it is possible to get to this level. Matt does it all the time as our, he runs the ads for us. Number 8, your opt-in rate. So this is a custom metric that you can create by dividing results by outbound clicks, as in your number of leads by outbound clicks. This is good to track. If it is less than 60%, it is a sign that your landing page is not good enough. And obviously, if we have all of this context here about what we need to troubleshoot, it's just a matter of reaching KPI. So there's a saying in Australia, an Australian football coach said it. He said, if it bleeds, we can kill it. So if something's like, if a team bleeds, if there's some type of vulnerability that we can see, we can kill it. So you kind of use that. I say that here to say, if we know our KPIs that we need to hit, we can hit them. If we know what we need to hit, we can hit them. If we know if it bleeds, we can kill it. It breathes oxygen. It bleeds blood. We know we can get it. Again, we have some newsletter ad templates for you, but here's a big Canva file. You can copy to make this easier in the description. Don't need to explain that again. And what you can do is you can start with the notepads for testing. You should always start with these notepad ads. This is because they stand out well in the feed. You can make them really fast and they can test copy really fast. So if you need to have some high production, video ad creative, and there's all these, obstacles to testing an ad, you're not going to be in a good position to go and test like 30 to 50 ads or, hundreds of ads that you'll need to get to the CPLs that we need to hit. So what you want to do is keep it simple. It's a good keep it simple, stupid approach. The KISS framework. If you don't know it, now you know. Because what we're going to run is this full testing strategy. So here's what we use to test these ads. So number 1, make a notepad app for 5 different lead magnets, or a notepad ad for 5 different lead magnets, and make 5 versions and run each of them for a few days before making the lead magnets. The results of this will show you which lead magnet is best performing without having to make them all. So you don't actually have to use your time to make the lead magnets. You want to test first before you actually create it so you can save the time. Then, number 3, what you want to do is when you have the winning lead magnet, test 5 different notepad ads with the headline being the only difference. So the headline is going to determine 80% of the performance on these types of ads. So test the headline first. Then, once you find the winning headline, make 2 new ads where you think you could improve the winning headline. So try and beat the winning headline. Test them and see if it's true. Then you want to test to repeat that test at least 3 times to try and improve your headline. And once you have found your winning headline and ran 3 tests improving it, you can try testing different designs and different ad creatives instead of just using the notepad ad. So this is a very systematic approach to go about your testing. It's the best strategy to use if you're starting at 0. Because the biggest hurdle you're going to face is finding the best lead magnet. And then after you find the best lead magnet, you're going to be finding the best way to communicate the lead magnet. So before you do this, don't worry about design. Don't worry about crazy creatives. Notepad ads will be sufficient, and you can make new ads in seconds. So that's kind of the benefit. So to summarize, test new Notepad app ads for 5 different lead magnets and see which lead magnet wins. So find the lead magnet. Then create the best lead magnet once you see the results. Then test 5 different Notepad ads with the headlines being the only difference. Then once you find the winner, make 2 new ads that you think you can improve the winning headline. Then repeat step 4 at least 3 times. Then once you find your winning headline, try different designs instead of just using the Notepad app ads. So you can see here, it's just using an order of operations because we want to do the highest leverage test first and then go down in order. So the biggest changes that you'll see is the performance in the lead magnets. Then you'll see the difference in performance. It kind of differs because the lead magnet is the highest leverage test. If you know Alex Hormozy, the offer is the highest leverage test. The lead magnet is the actual offer. So we want to start with that. Then we're switching to organic. So now in terms of growing organic, what you want to do is all roads lead to your newsletter. This is kind of the frame that we're going to go into this with. Just like all roads lead back to Rome, all of your social media profiles should lead back to your newsletter. Followers are just that, followers. If you actually want someone to buy from you and actually get involved with what you do, they're going to have to become a lead at some point, and preferably sooner rather than later. And they're going to become a lead at the moment that they give you their contact information. So they follow you, cool. But if they give you their contact information, all of a sudden you have that click, that's a lead, perfect. And that's what our content's for. So it's a way to get people to trust us, and it's a way to drive traffic to a page where we can collect their contact information. And then that is why we create content in a nutshell. And we have a clear path and system in place to convert followers into subscribers, into clients. Then what we want to do is, here is what you want to do on Twitter. So a bit of a content, pivot to content. So this is how you're going to grow it. You want to set up your profile properly first things first. So when you start, this is step 1. So you want a cover photo which conveys that you do what you do with a decent visual. You want a profile image of you smiling, because who wants to work with someone who's sad all the time? You want a link to your conversion funnel, so your webinar, training, case study in your links. You want a bio that conveys what you do, some social proof, and promotes your lead magnets. Number 5, you want a pin post, which is a thread, which should be either super valuable or some type of social proof, because this is the first thing people are going to read when they visit your page. Alternatively, you can use this as a command center for all your links to your lead magnets. If you do this, you want to put as many lead magnets links as you can in there, and then attach a video of you speaking. And you might even use a video, which will be your entire conversion video. So if you have a video of a webinar, case study, training, whatever it may be, see what you can do. Here's a good example from Carl Weiss, sharp bloke, this fella. You can see there, we accelerate the growth of D2C brands, currently working with 25 brands, including the Udi, Vessi, and Kino Body. So it's good social proof. And then he has the links there and a good training. And step 1, once you have the profile set up, is if you determine your niche, you'll be able to essentially have it as a set and forget type thing. So you won't have to do it again for the rest of the platforms, because all of these posts will be based on what you do on Twitter. Twitter is kind of the central hub that you will work off. I've already talked about how to do this, but here's a short review. The niche is not about the service you provide, it is actually what you do. For example, if you sell email marketing services, you post about how to get better at email, not about your services. You want your niche to be specific enough, yet broad enough at the same time. So email marketing for e-com brands is good. Email marketing for brands selling protein powder is bad. That's too far niche down. There's no reason that you need to go that far. Maybe if you're starting and you have specific experience in that niche, if you have specific experience in that niche, it wouldn't be the worst idea, but at the same time, it is going to limit you over time. So you want to expand from that fairly quickly. Then what you want to do is brainstorm your 8 subcategories. So your 8 subcategories are going to determine what you post about. This is going to give you content ideas, and you can take your niche and narrow it down to the 8 most important parts of that niche, and each of those parts will become a subcategory. This is what you're going to post about. So going back to the previous slides, if we run a YouTube editing or growth agency, our subcategories will be thumbnails, videos, video editing, coming up with ideas, production value, YouTube SEO, scripting and pacing, and speaking well on camera, as well as using YouTube to get clients.
And what you want to do is make sure you're choosing these subcategories carefully, because these are going to be the basis for all of your content on every single platform and not just Twitter. So don't skimp out on this step. Make sure to choose these wisely. And again, it's the same thing that I said about the lead magnets before, where the quality of the content or the quality of the lead magnet or the ideas of what you're putting out into the world will be the number one determinant of the type of clients that you get. So it's kind of like one of those cringe things that people say, like your vibe attracts your tribe. It's actually true. Like it's cringe, but a little bit, but yeah, it's true. What you put out into the world is what you're going to attract as followers, subscribers, and future clients. So make sure this is on point. Then you want to brainstorm a list of 30 topics for each subcategory based on the following methods, which we've discussed. So number one, stealing proven ideas. Number two, going to Quora and searching up questions related to your niche. Number three is asking GPT for 50 common misbeliefs related to each of your subcategories. And four is looking for ideas in vidIQ, which is a YouTube software. If you combine these four methods with your brain, which is, impossible challenge, combine the methods with your brain and think for yourself, you're never going to run out of ideas for as long as you live. Because if you can see here, your niche, 8 subcategories, a bunch of proven formats, and then 50 of these each. That's like unlimited tweets. And you're not, I'm not going to do the maths in front of you. It's like unlimited tweets. You're never going to have an issue. Then, just like with the videos, you're going to need to capture their attention immediately and pique their interest. This is not really enough to make a good thread. It's not going to do much for you. When they are scrolling, the first post in the thread is all they'll see. And you need to make sure this post is interesting enough to get them to read the entire thread. So here's a list. We've done this for you. Use these hook ideas again, doc in the description. Use these hook ideas, go through and take your hooks from there. It's all done for you already. Then, we're abiding by the 2 rules. Is this content worth $5? And is there an actionable tip they can incorporate within 24 hours? Because what we're looking for here is fast value, big, fast value. Especially important, again, because all of your other platforms will be based off this thread. Very, very important. And then what we want to add is a little auto plug. So remember to set up auto plugs in your Hypefury account. These are basically going to add a post to the end of each of your best threads promoting your lead magnets. And you want to set up 10 plus auto plugs, one for each lead magnet, and Hypefury will automatically rotate through them with each post. And basically this ensures that all of your lead magnets get in front of your audience over time. With this, you want to be super over the top. But if you do this, you have to make sure they deliver. So if you go crazy promoting them, going crazy, absolutely ham, pushing these lead magnets, you want to make sure that the quality matches the hype. Then what you want to do is engage with 30 bigger accounts after posting. So when you're first starting out, you're going to grow faster if you leave thoughtful comments under bigger accounts that are similar to yours. You just don't want to use short or canned messages. So you want to think of this like trying to steal the followers of bigger accounts. And the best time to engage with these bigger accounts is right after you post, because if they see your comment and click on your profile, your new post will be right there at the top. And we've included a similar creator spreadsheet that you can use to sort of systemize this process. Then what you want to do is look at Instagram. So Instagram, it's a similar thing. You want to set up your profile properly, and it should go without saying that photo, name, description, link, what you do, social proof, lead magnet promotion, very, very simple stuff. And again, we've included an example for you right here. You would have seen this before if you've scrolled Instagram much, and you want to make sure that it's just clean, simple, and straightforward. And what you can do is you can turn your Twitter threads into a carousel, into a series, basically a series of images for Instagram. And this is the most popular type of content for the platform. And you can make a copy of these templates. Again, we've included all the stuff. This is going to make it really, really easy. Go grab these templates and you can set that up quite simply. Then what you want to do is use the analytics to find the best time to post. And Instagram is actually the only platform where this matters. So you want to go into your analytics and see what time the best time to post is, and then just post all your content at that time. Super, super simple. The other platforms don't matter as much. So just base your posting times around Instagram. Then what you can do is you can set up an autoresponder for lead magnets. So get a social media app and create keyword-based autoresponders. Make sure that you create 10 or more, one for each lead magnet, and then put their names in a spreadsheet so you know which one is which. Then you can cycle through promoting the keyword for each lead magnet in the description or captions of your post. So for example, Jose Rosado here, comment, DM me the word reels and I'll send you XYZ. So he's commented there, and then you get what he promised. Then what you want to do is the exact same thing as Twitter. Go and engage with 30 competitors after posting. And when you're first starting out, this is just going to help you grow faster, get a bit more traffic, and steal the followers of the bigger accounts. So again, use that similar creator spreadsheet. Then we want to look at LinkedIn, and it's sort of a rinse and repeat. set up that profile, look at what works on the platform, photo, name, experience, cover photo, etc. But in the description or biography of your LinkedIn profile, you want to put a description to every lead magnet you have, because there is virtually unlimited space here. And when people click on your profile, they're going to see and read this. And most people give a generic story that no one really cares about or reads. But what you want to do is use this space to promote your lead magnets. Then you can export your Instagram carousel as a PDF and take the same file you have that you use on Instagram, but export it as a PDF, and then you can just use that on LinkedIn, and you can upload it as an attachment to LinkedIn and schedule the post, and make sure you still write a good hook in the actual text part as well. So you can see that's where you upload the PDF. And same as Twitter, on LinkedIn, you want to use an auto plug. So again, 10 lead magnets all in there, go crazy promoting them. Really, really easy. Same thing again here, engage with the competitors. You can see there's a bit of a pattern. Set up the profile, get the content, make sure the content's good, set up an auto plug, engage with competitors. Then we have TikTok, and we've got my boy Cardinal Mason here. So on TikTok, photo of yourself, and then you want your entire bio to be about your lead magnet. So for example, free copywriting class this Thursday, go check out the workshop. And with TikTok, it's a little bit different because it's a video. You want to determine a format that works for you here. You want to have a little bit of a style that no one can determine. It's really a you thing. And you want to keep in mind how much editing you want to do, if the videos are just going to be you talking or if you're going to screen share, and then also how much time you want to spend on each, and also what style of video you're naturally good at. Some people are going to just be like Mason, who can just get behind the camera and talk. Some people are going to want to screen share, etc., etc. In terms of some quick guides, you just want to learn how to make videos of you facing the camera and talking about a subject. And you're going to need to practice this and learn to be inherently interesting. And this is also going to help your copywriting a bit. You're going to need to be really simple and have great hooks. And you want to just have high quality and engaging videos without the need for fancy editing tricks. If you can get good at this, it is an absolute master skill to get good at. And like a lot of things with content, the big key here is the hook. So you're going to be able to use the same hook that you had in your Twitter thread, but you also may not. This should work a lot of the time to use the Twitter one, but some hooks are better in written form than they are out loud. Remember, this is video, not text. What you can do is go on TikTok and just scroll a little bit, just do a bit of doom scrolling and check out what works, and check out creators like Mason, Mind Hacks, Ben Bader. These guys are really good at making the hooks and just getting that attention immediately in that first 3 seconds of the video. It's really, really important. And not only that, but also making sure the delivery of the hook is really, really strong, because the delivery matters just as much as the words you're saying, the actual, the energy behind the hook. And remember, the reason this is important, because if you don't capture that first 3 seconds, you are absolutely screwed. There's just zero chance they're going to watch the rest of the video. So make sure it is absolutely A1, and then you can go from there. What you can do is get a good mic and face a window and record. A lot of times, like now, it's nighttime, so I have to use this artificial light. But if you go against a natural light, it's going to be a little bit better than what I'm working with now. I've got the shadow, and it's not as clear. And then what you want to do is just make sure you have a mic that you can plug into your phone and record. Sound quality matters more than the video quality. The phone, if you have an iPhone, it's probably going to be fine. Excuse me. But one thing you want to note is that you don't really need any of this stuff. It's better that you start and have high quality hooks, and then a production value is kind of step 2. After that, you have the editing process. You want to make sure this is the same every single time. And like I said, you want to make sure that you have this order of operations correct. So the content is the log here. If you think about it like a fire, content's the log, the video is the flame, and the editing is the gasoline. So the content is really the fuel for the video, just as the log is for the flame. There's not really much point in going too crazy with the editing unless the content and the video are actually good. So it's kind of like pouring a bunch of gasoline in a fire pit without any logs or flame. It's not really worth anything. It's just a waste of time and money. And the key here is just to find a simple editing process that you can do over and over again in a short amount of time. And it should just be the same every time. You don't need rocket science with the edit. The only things you want to worry about until you can get an editor are making sure that the captions are under your chin, and making sure you have a graphic or an image and a short text headline as a part of the hook in the first 3 seconds of the video. So you have a visual and an audio hook. Obviously you're speaking, but you also want to add a visual hook to bolster that. Then on TikTok, what you can do is go on your phone and go into TikTok search. Won't work on desktop, so make sure TikTok search on your phone and search things related to your video. And you're going to get a list of popular search terms based on what you put in. And what you can do is you can choose the search terms based on what's working, and then put them as your first line in the description or your caption. And this is going to be really great for SEO and make your video pop up for the first search terms that people are already searching. It's a really great growth hack for SEO on TikTok. All you need to do is load your caption with these terms and make sure the first line of the description of your post is loaded with as many keywords as you can possibly find in the previous step. Bonus points if it is an exact match, and this is going to really help your SEO. It's going to get your videos much more views over time, especially if it's super targeted stuff. Because with the type of B2B content that we're making, it's not like you're going to go ahead and get 20 billion views. You really want those targeted views. They're the ones you're looking for. So if you get this SEO working well, it's going to be much more effective. Then what you want to do is post and pin a long comment. So a nice little hack for your TikToks, Reels, and Shorts is to post a long guide or elaboration or story as a comment and then pin it to the top. This way, if people are spending time reading, it counts as more watch time for your video, and that is a positive indicator for the algorithm. So it's a little growth hack. And same thing, you want to have this autoresponder set up because a lot of people are going to be coming through TikTok towards your Instagram. So it's just a little circle back to that. And same thing, keep engaging with those competitors. Use the spreadsheet. I don't want to have to go through it again. We're sort of up to speed here. YouTube, same thing. We're up to speed with the profile. We've got examples here if you want to use them, and you can just go from there. And again, same thing. Determine a format that works for you. It's the same as basically every other platform. With YouTube specifically, it's best if you make higher level videos of you screen sharing or teaching a particular topic. You can have your face in it too if you want, but you really want to use YouTube as a way to prove your competence and show that you have tremendous amount of knowledge and expertise. And you almost want people to be thinking, how the hell does this guy know so much random stuff about video editing, about YouTube, about cold email, about whatever your niche is? Because the more and more that you give value and get people used to seeing your face and hearing your voice, the more clients that you're going to get. And all of a sudden, this whole ecosystem of your newsletter becomes much stronger, and it will not only grow your list, but it's also going to be a mechanism for you to send people from your list to as well. So YouTube is it's an interesting one because you're going to get people from your list to your YouTube, and you can almost send them back and forth. So you can use the traffic from YouTube to grow your list. Then once they're on your list, you can also use your list to promote your YouTube channel, to send them to longer form content and get them on video. In my opinion, YouTube and a newsletter is the strongest acquisition channel for any B2B company, which is a big claim to make because obviously we talk about ads, we talk about outbound, we talk about all this stuff. YouTube plus a newsletter is absolutely unstoppable if you can crack it. In terms of getting your YouTube content to actually work, you want to create your title before the thumbnail and both of those things before the actual video. So you want to create the positioning of the video, which is the thumbnail and the title, before you actually start recording. And you want to do this based on what people are searching and also based on specific ideas that you think will resonate with your market. So to test this out, you can go to vidIQ and see what people are searching for in your niche and make your video title based on what people are searching. And the closer that you get, the more people will be interested, as that is what they are already searching. So you can actually sort of hack this. And it's very important because YouTube is very much an SEO-based platform. It's actually the second biggest search engine after Google search. Obviously, YouTube's also Google, but the YouTube search is the second biggest search platform. So if you don't take this seriously, your videos are not going to get as many views. It's pretty simple like that. Then what you want to do is, again, create the thumbnail before the video, way before you record. So you can base the entire positioning of the video based on the title and thumbnail. Something really key to know is that your thumbnail and your title are essentially a claim or like a bold claim. So for example, here, if you say how to run $1 million business in the claim, and then you don't fulfill on that claim, you're absolutely screwed. So for example, if I make a video about running $1 million business, I better hope that my video fulfills on that claim. So you want to create the claim or the positioning before you record the video so you can make sure that when you actually get to recording, you cater the video directly towards fulfilling on the claim from the title and thumbnail. Let me know if that makes sense. If it doesn't, just let me know. Because obviously that's kind of just off the top of my head. But it's kind of a high level concept, so just see if you can take that in and sort of process it. Then what you want to do, same thing. Create the editing process that's the same every time. Editing is not the thing that is going to blow you up. It is absolutely not the thing that is going to have a big impact. It's going to help, but if the content sucks, you're absolutely screwed. If the video is not any good, just forget about it. Focus on the video, focus on the content, then make the editing process very, very systematized. It's absolutely pointless. Make sure you have this on point. Then what you want to do is you want to get your SEO score from vidIQ as high as possible. Do what it says, including adding a long description filled with keywords and tags and a playlist to ensure your SEO is as good as it can possibly be. And then what you want to do is put your lead magnets in the pinned comment and the description. It's really important that you use the pinned comment because people don't always read the description. You want to have it there, of course, but if they go to this description, they're probably going to just like specifically be looking for that. It's much more likely that someone scrolls to read the comments first. Like you might be even scrolling the comments now. So you want to make sure that when you have this, people are going to have it in the description as well as in the description as well as in the pinned comments as well, because a lot of people scroll there. Then what you want to do is go and comment on the channels of the 30 biggest competitors too. And then it's time to monetize. So we've grown our newsletter, we've got our social set up, we've got our everything set up, we've got our, everything's in place. So now we're in the promised land. So the ideal situation or the promised land of B2B newsletters is when you're in the following position. So your lead magnet is not, lead magnet is only interesting to your target audience and not anyone else, sorry. So your lead magnet is hot, basically. Number 2, your cost per subscriber is low enough to where your co-registration and digital products earn enough money to break even on your ad spend. Number 3, your newsletter is good and you have a system to maintain consistent and high quality results. If you can achieve this, there is virtually no limit to how big you can grow your newsletter and how many clients you can get from this. So keep these three main pillars as your, golden arches, if you will. So excellent lead magnet, break even a profit from co-registration and digital products, and maintaining good and consistent results for the actual newsletter. If you can do these three things, you're going to be so monumentally set up. And then what you have is things like sponsorships, like we mentioned before. So one of the reasons newsletters are so valuable is you can sell the sponsorships and ad space for a very high CPM. So if you're already breaking even and profiting from these, imagine how much money you can make from sponsorships that are just pure profit, to the point where you might even look at this and think, damn, this makes more money than my actual business. That's the only risk here. Because like we said before, if you have 100,000 subscribers, which is very viable if you put these processes in place, you sell it at $50 CPM, you're going to get $5K a sponsorship. If you sell 50 sponsorships a year, that is $250,000 in revenue, basically for doing nothing. So all of a sudden, you don't want to become, a creator, you're not becoming Mr. Beast, but all of a sudden you have this B2B audience that you can sell the advertising space for, which will grow over time as you get more subscribers and if you sell more sponsorships. And not only that, but a more frequently sent newsletter that sells 200 sponsorships per year at the same CPM is going to yield $1 million in revenue from just this alone. And typical sponsors might be apps, SaaS, financial services, B2B services that are relevant to your target audience, etc. For example, if you send a promotion for a SaaS in your newsletter to 100,000 people for $5K and just one customer signs up, that SaaS can gain a lot more than $5K in enterprise value. So don't squeam or squirm at the $5K price point. It is absolutely worth it for those sponsors. It is, they can make a lot of money from you. With the sponsorships, you can follow this plan to get sponsors for your newsletter. And again, you can get a $50 CPM for a good B2B newsletter, but there are different ways you can price it too. But regardless of what you charge, you need the following. So you need over 10K subscribers, which isn't strictly necessary, but below this level, it's better to focus on growing the newsletter rather than getting sponsors, as the sponsorships will be $500 or less. You want to set up a cold email software. We have guides on that on my channel and on the page here. And you can get a cold email software like instantly. You can use this to reach out to potential sponsors en masse all automatically. It's one of the best ways to get sponsors for your newsletter, especially when you're starting out. You're not necessarily going to have a ton of inbound inquiries. You're going to have to do the work yourself. You can use a cold email software to make this as efficient as possible. But one caveat is that you don't want to use your main newsletter for cold email, as a higher percentage of people are going to mark these emails as spam. You want to use 10 to 20 similar domains that you can use for cold email, because if those emails get burned, it doesn't really matter. The reason they get marked as spam more often is because they're cold. It's unsolicited emails. It kind of makes sense that they'd be marked as spam more often. So you want to choose those burners, protect the main domain. Then what you want to do is subscribe to a list of potential sponsors or build a list yourself. There are lists such as who sponsors stuff, get sponsor leads, etc. that will send you lists of brands who sponsor. And you can try that first to get you off the ground. Like I said, we have the cold email guide in place. The video is on the channel. If you want to check this out, the document is here. The video is on my channel. All you need to do is go and check that out. When it comes to the campaigns, now that you have your domains, email addresses, records added, found your list, you have cleaned your list, and you have it imported, ready to go, and you are just you're chomping at the bit to send these campaigns, what you want to do is have the subject line, email copy, and follow-up in place. And the guidelines for this is basically as such. With the subject line, the best way to do it is to pitch your audience. So, for example, reach 20K VC pros, get brand in front of 100K pet parents, 500K fitness enthusiasts who would love company name, because You're in the business of connecting advertisers with audiences, and the marketers on the other end of your pitch are on the hunt for untapped pockets of customers who can be turned into fans and customers of their brand. You can see here, 6-figure tweak for this newsletter, important update, etc., etc. With the body copy, the people you're pitching probably get a lot of pitches, but that doesn't mean that your pitch is an inconvenience to them, because this is what they do and they're eager to find new audiences to market to. Trust me, when finding newsletters to advertise on, the problem sponsors are working on daily is finding new audiences. So it's really important that if your audience is a potential fit for them, they'll be eager to learn more. It's not something that they don't pay attention to. You don't want to bury the information in a wall of text. You want to say, hey, we've got this thing for you. And they'll be interested because that thing is valuable to them. In terms of what it actually looks like, this is a framework that I got from my friend Nick Abraham. He's an absolute legend. And you can see here, hi, first name, personalized first line. If I could generate X result without risk, would you be interested in speaking? You know what? Yes, I would. I would love that. An example with a newsletter specifically is, hi, first name, hope you're having a great June. I'm reaching out from newsletter name with a one-line description of your newsletter. We have a fast-growing newsletter that now reaches over 100,000 e-com companies or sports fans or affluent parents, personal finance obsessives, etc. We thought brand, your company name, could be a good fit with our audience. We have a prominent native ad slot in the newsletter, and we would be happy to help tailor a message for you and offer to our audience. The rest of our June is booked, but July and August still have openings. Let me know if you'd like to find out more on how to partner. Best, your name. What your newsletter about and who reads it, how big and awesome your audience is, and social proof, and the ask is really important here. So no huge dumps of demographic data and click counts, no unsolicited media kit, just the basics. Give them the offer. If it's a good offer, that will take you up on it at a reasonable clip. And you want to make sure to follow up. So this is the third part of cold email. So these folks are busy. They're busy. And you're not inconveniencing them by pitching them or following up. It's just that they're busy a lot of the times, even myself. If someone follows up, I'm like, thanks for following up. I missed this email. It fell into the inbox, into the never-ending abyss. But I appreciate the follow-up because now I'm going to do the thing. So it can be really, really simple. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. Just following up on my last note, more than happy to jump on a call or answer any questions. For the first one, you might even say like, hey, just want to make sure you receive my last message. People slander the follow-up of just bumping this up, but it actually does work, which, the haters are down tremendous because of that, because that follow-up is very, very proven. For a second follow-up, perhaps drop one last nugget of audience information just to sell it a bit more. So the first follow-up is more of a, hey, pumping this up. The second follow-up will probably be more of a, hey, let me just sell you a bit more, give you a bit more juice just in case you weren't sold enough. So something like, hey, just wanted to check in one last time. We think our audience could be a great fit for your brand. Our readers spend an average of $5,000 a year on pet products, or our readers include some of the top influencers in the artisan cupcake space, or they own an average of 5 NFTs. Something like that, just to sell the opportunity a little bit more. And you want to make sure, as a caveat, that you want to make sure to reply to your initial email. So the email is in a thread to keep all the information in one sequence. If they reply and they seem intrigued, at the very least, they're keen to gather more details. So when you successfully capture their attention, you can anticipate the likely inquiries would be something like, hey, can you give me a sample? How often is it opened? What percentage click on the ads? Do you possess a media kit? What's your pricing? So you want to have a concise reply ready to go with all this information ready to send back. It's preferable to offer a direct link to your newsletter rather than forwarding a separate email because really what's going on here is they're eager to visualize the advertising space they might invest in. So what you can do is just share the open and ad click statistics as approximations. The ad success will naturally vary depending on the alignment with the readership. So just give them the stats and highlight that your ad spaces are nearly fully booked because that can give you an edge as well because it's just sort of an authority thing. And it means that if other people are getting results with your ads because they're buying them, maybe it's a good idea for me to buy them too. When it comes to making a media kit, it's pretty wide open for how you can create that. But for a guide, it should include the following. Having clarity here is really important in order to back up your desired sponsorship rate. And this will vary, but typically it will be based on the sliding CPM rate. So that's cost per thousand subscribers you have on your newsletter. And the 8 metrics you want to have a pulse on are number 1, the number of subscribers you have. Number 2, the open rate of your emails. Number 3, the click-through rate of your emails. 4, the engagement rate of your emails, like, shares, comments. Then the demographic of your subscribers, age, gender, location. The content and topic of your emails, so like the niche. Then the value that sponsoring your email can provide the sponsor. So, for example, exposure to a targeted audience, increased brand awareness, et cetera, et cetera. And then also the terms of the sponsorship, duration, type, compensation, et cetera. In terms of other ways to get sponsors, cold email outreach is the most predictable way, but it's not the only way. As you grow, you're going to mix in the following. So inbound, you will have a section at the bottom of the newsletter about this, as well as dedicated on your site. You can hire sponsorship agencies. So there are agencies that will find sponsors for you. Beware, it is convenient, but they will also charge up to 30% of the fee. It's a great option as you grow, but you shouldn't really rely solely on these. There's also sponsorship marketplaces. So there are many platforms and marketplaces you can add your newsletter to that will promote it to potential sponsors. And basically the crux of that information is, as you grow, you want to use all of these. So same as the funnel, you don't really want to rely on one. The more ways you can add, the more sponsorships you're going to get. And if you hate money, you shouldn't do that. But if you like money and you want more sponsors, then you should be good to go. If you send once per week, ideally you should have 52 sponsors a year at a $50 CPM. That is, a fairly significant amount of money depending on who you are. And what that means is all the effort is worth it, because you can make $1 million or more per year with a strong B2B newsletter as a one-person business, let alone as part of an agency or SaaS when you're getting clients from it too. When it comes to co-registration versus digital products, in this context, monetization and digital products serve the purpose of acting as a form of quick or instant cash flow to help you recover ad spend and reduce your risk, and also just give you a bit of return on the effort that you're putting in the early days. So when you're using these two things in this context and for this purpose, the idea is not necessarily to make a lot of money. It's more just to break even on your ad spend so you can go ahead and reinvest. To be able to break even, you need to get both your cost per subscriber as low as possible and make your co-registration and digital products as high converting as possible. In terms of the actual concrete numbers that you're going to need to find a way to get your cost per subscriber below $1 in order to do this. The highest leverage points of testing that you'll need to look at in order to do so will be testing lead magnets, number one, and then testing ad headlines. No other way. They're by far the main levers. If you can't break through that level, I guarantee you it's because of the lead magnet or the headline. Nothing else will have as big enough of an impact to get you to these stats, because you can generally get $1 per subscriber via co-reg, and you can usually get $1 per subscriber by using a digital product. If your digital product funnel has an $100 AOV, get a 1% conversion rate. That is an example of how you would get $1 per subscriber averaged out over time. And then in this context, both will serve the same person and is not really better than the other. You can even use both by selling digital products on the thank you page, although you'll have to test whether that is better than a book a call funnel or a VSL or a webinar on the thank you page. So with the thank you page, again, we're going to test that. How you get clients from the B2B newsletter should be fairly obvious. Your newsletter is really a marketing tool that allows you to provide value and demonstrate your expertise to a large group of people every single week. And then assuming you do a good job of providing that value and also a good job of letting your subscribers know what you do, you're going to get a fair amount of inbound leads on autopilot, almost just from the fact that they know that you deliver that service, number one, and then also because they subscribe and read your stuff all the time. Not only that, but really the framing behind this whole thing is what I said at the start, where you want to go into this with the mindset that only 3% of your subscribers are good candidates for your service, let alone 3% that will be ready to buy. That doesn't mean 3% will become clients, but of that total list, 3% have a chance of buying your services, and then 3% of those will be ready to buy at any given time. So it's really a small percentage, so you need to stay in front of them for a significant amount of time. Then with digital products, the best way to make money with this is to have a new product every quarter and treat it as a limited time event. So for example, I'm launching over 100 free landing page templates built on ClickFunnels for just $100. This offer is going to end at the end of the month and never be offered again. I promise you that. Here is an example of one of the landing pages included in this bundle. And what you want to do is combine a specific offer that is great value, that's going to make your audience more money or save them time, and then add a real scarcity or urgency aspect to it. And you're going to have a pretty good concoction there to make a good chunk of cash. If you are going to add the scarcity stuff, though, you have to follow through. Being really soft, like this is kind of well documented. If you are soft with your urgency and scarcity stuff and you're sort of just scamming them, obviously that's not going to work over time. A lot of this is really important for your branding. Integrity is a really big thing. If you want to just look at someone like Alex Hormozy, He's built his brand so big just by fulfilling on promises. So if you make a promise like this, do not break their trust. It's going to be almost impossible to get it back. Then I think this has gone off center a little bit, so I'll just fix that. Then what you're going to have is affiliate revenue. And you want to scatter these links throughout your newsletter and your lead magnets, and basically just put as much traffic as you possibly can to them, because it's a really great way to build MRR, especially over time. A lot of softwares will pay you 12 months, 24 months, even lifetime for these affiliate deals. And if you have 100,000 subscribers, you can get 1% of them to convert fairly easily. It's not rocket science to do that. And then you can get $25 a month on each of those. That means 1,000 conversions at $25 a month. That is $300K in pure profit. It's pure profit. And that is just one example as well. That's only from one software too. So for example, customer clicks your link and makes some purchase, conversions are tracked, you get the commission, and you place an affiliate link, starting from you placing an affiliate link on your site, newsletter, lead magnet, wherever it was. In terms of the actual logistics of getting clients from the newsletter, you want to have a subtle promotion at the top. So at the top of every newsletter, you want to have a subtle hyperlink text to your sponsorship page, exactly the way in the image presented here. So you can have something like case studies, advertise with us, etc. Then you also want to have a section promoting your webinar or workshop. So it's a great idea to have a dedicated section promoting a middle or bottom of funnel conversion tool, like a webinar or a live workshop. And it's a really good way to qualify leads, just to see who is serious enough to take the first step or the next step, without obviously having to get on a million sales calls, because that's the whole point. You don't want to get on sales calls. Having a really good webinar is a massive, massive part of that, because let's say you have 100,000 subs on your newsletter. You don't necessarily want to be getting on a bunch of calls just to disqualify people. So you want to have something like this in place so you can do it at scale. You also want to have a section promoting case studies. You should do it tastefully. Don't be salesy. A good way to do this is just to talk about a specific topic, and you can use the case study in the way of, saying my client got X result using this, and almost use it as proving a point, but also kind of as a story at the same time. So for example, FinMC retargets anonymous shoppers during a product launch with a 5x ROI, giving a bit of a story here about what they were going through and what they did and the result. Then you can give them a playbook, and that's kind of your conversion mechanism right there. Then at the bottom, you can have a section with a full promotion. So you should have a real section promoting your services, products, or whatever you choose, labeled basically how I can help. So thanks for all. That's all today. Whenever you're ready, here are 3 more ways I can help. You can work with us, you can sponsor us, or you can join the mastermind. So really simple. It's literally ad space. So the idea is that if you're going to go ahead and sell this ad space to all these other people, there is no reason why you shouldn't use your own ad space to promote your own stuff. I know some people actually don't even want to sell ad space because they say, no, screw that. I'm going to sell my own stuff. It's more valuable for me anyway. Screw off. I'm going to just promote my own stuff. I'm going to make more from it. So you can do that. Another thing that you can do is you can cold outreach to subscribers. So you can also segment your list by people who have a company email versus a normal email. And you can actually have someone go through and manually separate them. So you can get your corporate emails out. And if you see something that would be a good fit for your service, you can send them a cold email pitching them in a low pressure way. And you can get an absolute ton of clients doing this, especially if you offer some sort of low investment trial run or a free work to get them to give you a shot. It's not a perfect method because some people will have a Gmail, but the results that you can get from a cold email, it's kind of a quasi cold email because it is kind of warm, are absolutely insane because they already know you, they already like you, they already trust you, they've consumed some of your content, they're probably sussed out a lead magnet, and you can basically use that as leverage. When it comes to the actual maths, here is the client funnel. So this is the potential of a 100,000 subscriber list. So for example, you have 100K subscribers, you have 300 leads, 10% book a call over time, that's 300 meetings, and then you have 60 clients. If you close 20% of the calls, which if they're inbound, you really should be able to. Then you have the digital product funnel, maybe 1% of them convert. You have a $100 product, that's 1,000 conversions at $100 equals 100K, and you launch 4 products a year, that's 400K. Then you have your affiliate funnel, 1% convert, $25 a month, 1,000 conversions, 25K a month, 300K a year. Let me know if you are not tracking. And I believe we should have a slide at the end that doesn't exist, but you can see if you have all this stuff in place, It seems to me like it would be a meaningful amount of revenue. Let me know if that's not the case for you. But to give you the summary, this was the best way to sign high ticket clients without relying on sales calls. And it was about building a newsletter that nurtures and grows your list and your client list, your client base, sorry, so that you can get these high ticket clients without any BS sales calls. Who likes sales calls? So if you like this, with a long recording, put a lot of effort into this presentation. Hopefully it was valuable. So all I can ask that you do, share this with a friend if you thought it was valuable, and go ahead and subscribe for more stuff and go and check out the rest of the trainings. We got a bunch of free bonuses. We got more on the way. So stick around, check out my channel, check out Matt's channel, and I'll see you very, very soon.